Welcome back to the studio, folks. It's steaming quite a bit. Boy, I'll be glad when this summer's over already. And I think 2 posts ago I showed you how I started to work more in acrylic paint. And when you work in that paint or any kind of paint, you tend to lay out more paint than you actually need or use. And if you recall, these were this is one of the pieces. I did 3 pieces. So that's all acrylic right there. And that is starting to become my new base layer as I try to get my coverage, at least in acrylic, up to about 60% of what I want as representation. But when that paint is left over, I don't want to waste it. I don't want to wash it off. It's acrylic. I don't want to wash it off in the water. I want to keep it. I want to save it. And what I do with it is I'll create crazy exercises just to be able to use it. And if I have a blank canvas or blank paper that can take it, I'll do that. So what I did is, you can see here, that's exactly what I did with the extra paint. So I just slapped it down haphazardly with a brush. No intention. I had no idea what I was going to get. But as I played with it a little longer, I was able to cut out a head shape. And I tend to go to head shapes or anatomical shapes, abstract them somewhat, abstract them in a form of abstract realism. So I can experiment, and it's quicker than just trying to create this overarching abstract imagery that has great significance. I just want to play with the medium as quick as I can. And I'm going to show you a little later what I'm going to do with this. But you can see a couple summers ago, here's another head that I tended to abstract. And this, I came in a little tighter, but it's still a form of abstract realism. And I think you can see there where I was getting at, and you see that highlighted area in the head. I call that, well, that's the area of the pineal gland. I call this pineal boy. And you can look up the significance of what that gland is, particularly to the ancient Egyptians, ancient cultures. So it's a unique concept there. So what I want to do is give you a 2-part lesson of how I'm going to treat this. And I've already played on the edges, the boundaries around the head with oil pastel. And once again, I can't stress enough, when you start using acrylic as your base layer, you need to let that dry, and you can only work on top with oil mediums once that dry. You could varnish this acrylic layer. There's all kinds of varnishes, spray varnishes, spray fixatives, acrylic matte varnish. You could cover the whole acrylic painting like that, but when you work on top, always remember, don't mix oil and acrylic, don't mix. And the proper order is your base layer is acrylic, your next layer is up or oil. So I'm going to show you something unique, and some of it's I haven't even tried myself. I've done it in little pieces, but I'm going to show you that soon. So stay with this video, and it's going to be a 2-part video. I'm going to show you this quick technique, but I'm also going to show you some supplies that you might want to get for future practice, because I'm going to try to sum up all the parts of the videos that I've made over this year and maybe year and a half that you all have asked a lot of great questions in. And I wasn't thinking in terms of being like an instructor and giving it actual steps like I work. So I want to show you step 1, step 2, step 3. So, and you can follow along with me, and how I intend to do that is show you blank surfaces that you need to get and the materials you need to get, and watch how we're going to progress. And I'm going to show you that at the end of the next segment. Okay, so hang with me, and let's go to the next step. Okay, folks, here we go. This is the piece, the subject that I was talking about just a few seconds ago. So all this is haphazard throwing down of leftover paint, and I'm going to try to pull something out of here. I think there's something strong, and I already started with the outline of a head. So the acrylic base layer is dry. I've done a little bit of oil bars and oil pastel in here. But now what I want to do is I think I want to cover this whole thing and do a little bit of a reduction technique, which I'm going to show you how I'll do it. And I'm going to get this back in here. I do guidelines to keep the image in place. So what I'm going to use is my RF pigment sticks, these big fat oil bars. And what you have to do with these, since they're oil based, you have to cut the skin. It forms a skin on top. And what I do is cut the skin so I can get to the wet paint, wet color. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Then I get that over here, the old skin. And what I'll do is take this color, and right now I'm gonna start to cover everything where I want to cover it. And let me just fix something here with the camera. It's too close to the table as I vibrate. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna get this down on here. And this is going on pretty nicely, pretty much like paint. It is paint. It's paint in a stick. So then I have another color here, and I want to cut into this because I want to show this as well. So I'm going to cut the skin off of this color. And this is another RF stick. RF is a company in Kingston, New York that's making these beautiful paints. So here, this is called a Celadon green. So that's in here. And that's pretty thick. There we go. And then I want to go to, this is a Sennelier. It's quite dirty. This is a different consistency. And I'm going to start putting that in here. There we go. And then I'm going to come in with another Sennelier. Let me show you one there. You can kind of read the name a little better. You see it? That's what the label looks like. This is the label. There you go. So I'm going to come in with some additional color. There we go. We have a feast of color right here and a lot of coverage. And what I should do is I should put on a glove, because these are some pretty strong chemicals in here. I'm not using any cadmium colors, cadmium. Cadmium colors that can be pretty toxic, and you should always wear a glove. So let's see, get this on. My hands are, how you say, a little too hot, and everything is sticking today. Okay, there we go. All I need is this forefinger. So let me pull this down on the forefinger. Hate to take your time of watching this. Okay, so now I'm going to go in here and start to rub. And I love this texture. It's a little tacky. And I'm not trying to hide anything, really, like burnish it out, but I'm trying to let areas peek through. And there we go. So this baby is pretty much covered to somewhat. What do I have here? Okay, we'll figure that out later. Okay, so normally I would let this set up for maybe 3-4 more hours on a dry day. It would get a little tackier. Today it's so humid. It's going to be a little more fluid, but that's okay. I'm going to take the glove off. We'll take that off. I'm going to need another glove one day. And then I actually put these paints back. I put them always, these oil bars, back in the tubes. I cover them up. And I just love protecting these because they are drop dead expensive. And put this back in. Where's my lid? There's my lid, and there we go. So this is all covered just like I want it. And what I think I can do now is start to score in here. And I have these little things that I use. This is a type of pattern maker. It's a rubber one. It's actually made for doing creative things at home. And you can see here, you can see the nice texturing I get and line work, and I'm just creating haphazardly line work, and I'm in there scraping. I don't know what I'm gonna get, but that's why you want to keep doing it. So, and then I can get in there and scrape and take off more color, and that's fine. And then I have plastic palette knives, which are meant for painting, but I'm going to use them here for distressing the surface and taking away color. So this is, so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm getting some line action, which works very nicely. Now if I want to come in a little more, I know where my features are on this face. I can come in here with a rag and start to take it up. And then this is a pretty dense, what do you call it, construction quality paper towel. So there we go. And I can come down through here, which was the neck. But another thing I do, which I don't think I've ever introduced, is I will use this mineral spirit. It's 100% odorless. It's made by Gamblin, and it's called Gamsol. I will put the links in my caption to where you can get this and other things, but please ask me all the questions you want, and I'll try to help you. What this will do will help thin this surface and make it even cleaner than what I just did. So I'll put a little bit of this Gamsol on this paper towel, and then I'll come in here, and you can see, look at that, how it pulls out that highlight. And then I'll put a little more. Let's go to another area. I want to pull out the area that is the eyebrow. Let me see. There we go. And I'm pulling out the back of the head. And then I want to come down through here, which could be the torso. There. So then I have another scriber. This is a metal scriber. This is used by etchers. And I used to use these on nice archival paper in my illustration days. And this will score the paper and create a nice texture. I did a lot of illustration in color pastel and dust pastel, so this leaves a nice effect. So let me try this and see what we get. And this is a lot finer line, and I'm going to show you up close. And I want to come around this cheek area and scribe it. And I'm scribing down into the acrylic paint. So I'm digging in ridges, because this is a very sharp tool. So if I pull this up closer, you can see what I've done. You can see those ridges there, I think. And this is starting to show a lot of promise from that covering. And I will take out more of this gray as I see fit. So I think to make this a stronger piece, let me get back in here and open up the color down in this area. So I'm trying to bring it back, and you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then I want to get it clean and really pull out that color. I want to hit in here with the Gamsol, so I'm going to put more Gamsol on this, and that's it. And look at that. See, so I've taken away pretty much all that coverage, and you can see how I can pull out the white again down in here. I like this little bit of aqua in here. There we go. And I think I'm going to leave this to set up a little bit more, and I'm going to show you what I want you all to start preparing, because I think in a week and a half or 2 weeks I'm going to start a totally fresh piece from step one, and I think in 6 pieces or 6 steps I can show you how I work with oil pastel, oil bars, acrylic paint, layering, glazing, and using my dark China markers or grease pencils. So this is a China marker which has a waxy base, oily base, and I can come in here with that and start to pull out areas I want. I don't really like that, so I'm going to take that out. So this is the eye area, and I want to create some motion around here. You know, I'm a spiral whirling dervish kind of designer. All my markings have some kind of spiral or curvature in them. I like the energy of the concentric circles, but I don't like back here, so I can take it out. So you can see how you can just grow your work really easily in simple steps by playing with that surface and playing with your medium, and I hope to show you a lot more of these techniques. So next, step 2 of this is I want you all, if you're interested in following me in future videos that I want to start, as I said, in a few weeks, I want you to, given your comfort zone, buy a few different surfaces to work on. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, just hold on, I'm coming back. Okay. I tend to work quite a bit on very good archival paper. This is archival paper that is for acrylic and mixed medium. This paper you can find by tons of manufacturers, and I've cut this out to be a 12 by 12 square. That's all. That's the biggest size you'll need, and it's easy for you to work at home and experiment with how I want to show you various lessons. And that paper came off a pad right here called Strathmore acrylic paper. There's 10 sheets in there, 18 by 24, but you don't need 10 sheets. You can get a smaller pad of this, and you can get the 12 by 11 by 14 pad of this, but I just have a big pad. And this has a good weight to it, It's acid free, and this is going to take a beating with mixed media. So this is the kind of paper you want to get or use if you're trying to mimic my work. So that's it. It's 12 by 12, and the reason it's 12 by 12 because I put one of my canvases on top to mirror that size. So I want that size to work across, different mediums. So then you get to see what you're doing and how you're carrying over from one medium to the next. So you could get 12 by 12 canvas. This is stretched. These are real cheap. You can get these in, I think, a package of 8 at various art stores. And you can see this is something I did within 1 hour just to cover the surface so I can build up my abstracts. I want to tone the surface as quickly as possible so I can start seeing things that communicate with me that I want to create abstraction from, or I'm starting to see organic forms that are important. So there you go. So you can get one of these. You can get one of these, which is a sheet of paper, acrylic paper, or if you're inclined, you can get, I do work on wood panels. This is an 8 by 8. Here's an 8 by 10 wood panel. These are great. These take a beating, and I will gesso these. But for this demonstration's purpose that I'm going to put together for you all, I probably will work just on the paper and the canvas. And the other thing is, if you don't want a stretch canvas, you can get a canvas board. These are canvas boards. These are relatively inexpensive. And this is impregnated, or a canvas is actually stretched over it. And these work well. So get these surfaces. If you go through my other videos, where I do have videos specifically for art supplies of how I work, and I will put all those links in the caption to my other videos so you can read them. But basically, it's whatever cheap kind of acrylic paint, only 2 or 3 colors you need. You only need half dozen oil pastels, half dozen oil bars, because you're going to be surprised how much color you get out of just a small grouping of supplies. And then once again, here is I'm toning. So I'm going to want to get you up to this phase where we're toning and just creating a patina with no thought on a surface. That's one. And here's one where I went a little past the toning. I was starting to visualize some form of an abstracted plein air landscape. So I have a water element, maybe a coastline here, and I'm showing ridges to a mountain range here. So I'm just playing. But there we go. It'll be about, I say, a week and a half, 2 weeks, that I will have the first lesson up, and I will label it in the title, Step 1, and I'll give it a name. But I'm still in the thinking process of that, and I hope it's a lot more educational than how I've jumped around all year, but I'm learning the YouTube at the same time, and I didn't realize you all would have such interest in my work, so I want to make it even better for you all, and more educational, and with the ability you can take something positive away and actually affect and change your work. So, okay folks, I actually wanted to get down on the surface of this piece and show you the detail up close. What I was just trying to explain, and all the little nuances I tried to apply in here. And you can see my texturing and scoring and scratching of lines. So if you go back to the beginning of this video, you can see how much that mood and emotion of this piece changed. And I'm gonna let this set up and kind of dry at this phase, and then I'm gonna come back in here. I don't wanna ruin some of the smokiness of that oil bar that I skimmed over this with. I like that. So, and I just want to keep my heavy hand under control, just to get more emotion. That's usually how you get emotion out of your work, can control that hand. And the funny thing is, I look at the profile of this character. It's not premeditated, but I'm going to show you. You've seen the other cardboard cutout project I've been working on. And here we go. I'm going to lay it right on top of here. There it is. So does that profile not look like that profile? So this is my cardboard cutout called the Spirit of the Ancient Mariner. There was a character in, I think, the poem of that title, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Okay, folks, let me get back to work and say bye to this piece, and one day I'll show you the finish. And I just should leave it at the way it is right now and come back to it. Okay, bye-bye.